I'm Elizabeth at A Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I have a PhD in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists, and as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have a different kind of video for you. It is going to be more vlog style, and it is doing something that I have seen other people do and thought would be a good idea for me to do, and that is reading the first chapters of my unread books and deciding whether I want to keep them and read them or unhaul them. So I'm doing it with just my general fiction shelf, and I'm not including any of my Stephen King books because he's my favorite author and I know I'm gonna read those even if I've had them for over a decade and haven't read them yet. I'm also not including a few that I just bought very recently because I just bought them very recently. But I have 17 books here, and I think we're gonna do like 3 at a time, and I'll tell you about the 3 and then I'll come back to check in and let you know what happened with them and introduce the next 3. So I'm thinking this is gonna be done over like the course of a week, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. How long will it take me to get through 17 first chapters? I don't know. But I feel like this is necessary because I'm going on a trip at the beginning of May, and there are 2 bookstores within walking distance of my hotel. And I know that I'm going to come back with books. And I also know that I really do not have enough shelf space for those books that I have not bought yet. So I want to kind of preemptively make some space by going through these books and being like, do I really want to keep this or not? So let's introduce the first 3 books. The first one is The Goodbye Cat by Hiro Arikawa. This is a follow-up to the Traveling Cat Chronicles. It is translated by Philip Gabriel from the Japanese. I think that this is probably going to be remaining because I loved the Traveling Cat Chronicles. So these are short stories, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 7 cat stories. So I don't really know how they're broken up, if it's chapters or if it's just like kind of each story and then there's occasional breaks. I don't know. So I guess we'll see how that works out. But I'm expecting to keep this one because the Traveling Cat Chronicles was so good. Next up, we have Rouge by Mona Awad. This is actually on my 50 books to read for 2026 list. So I guess we're gonna see if I'm actually gonna read it or if I'm gonna get rid of it, which obviously is the point of this. Okay, the first chapter is 22 pages. So that's, oh, and there's the prologue. Yeah, there's a prologue. I don't know how we'll do with that. But anyway, I reread Bunny recently and began and DNF'd We Love You, Bunny. So now I'm kind of like, am I really gonna like Rouge? Because while I still liked Bunny, I decided not to keep it. I'm unhauling it. So I'm like, is it worth it to keep Rouge here? So we're gonna find out. And then the third book is the children's book by A.S. Byatt. I loved Possession. One of my favorite books, like top tier book. I hated The Biographer's Tale, detested it. One of the worst books I read that year. So it's like, how's this gonna go? I don't know. This is historical fiction set in the Victorian period, I do believe. Yep, Victorian through World War I. And I guess we're just gonna see, how are these chapters looking? Are they long? Are they short? Are there chapters? You know, some books don't have chapters, which would make this video kind of difficult. Oh, she dedicated to Jenny Uglow, who wrote the Elizabeth Gaskell biography I'm going to be reading. That's cute. I didn't know they knew each other. Okay, yeah, these are reasonable chapters. Okay, so we'll see what happens with this. So those are the first 3 books. I will check in with you when I have read these chapters and tell you what I think. Hello again. So I filmed that last bit on Monday. It is now Wednesday. So on Monday, I proceeded to read absolutely nothing from these books that I was reading the first chapters of. But I did read all 3 last night, Tuesday night. So, The Goodbye Cat by Hiro Arikawa, definitely staying. As I thought, this doesn't have chapters, so I just read the first 6 pages and kind of didn't want to stop. Might just pick this up when I'm done with some of the books that I'm currently reading, like Cranford. But yeah, definitely staying. Rouge by Mona Awad, also staying. The prologue of this was so intriguing, and it's actually written in second person, which was fascinating, and is to be expected. Awad plays with point of view and narration a lot, but it starts with this mother telling her child a bedtime story that is Snow White, but focused on the queen. Hi, Pippin. Hi. And called The Story of the Beautiful Maiden. And I do know that this riffs on Snow White, so that was very interesting. Must you, sir? But yeah, definitely intrigued and will be reading this soon. Whether I'll keep it after I'm done with it or not is another question, but I definitely want to read it. And we had the children's book by A.S. Byatt, and this is also a keep. I really liked the first chapter of this. Starting off in the Victorian era with these 2 boys finding another boy living in the basement of the Victoria and Albert Museum. And it was very interesting. And there seems like there's going to be a lot that I'll like in here with like storytelling and fairy tales and obviously Victorian stuff. So this is also a keeper. You just saw that I was filming and like immediately got up from your cozy bed in the window and said, I'm gonna go bother mama. Okay. So the next 3 books that I'm gonna be looking at, we've got House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Danielewski, is that how that's pronounced? And I mean, this book is kind of infamous for the crazy formatting stuff that it does. Do we even have like are there even chapters here? Oh yeah, and it's like set up as like a found text. Okay, there's a brief foreword, a dedication that says this is not for you, and then an introduction that is formatted like it was done on a typewriter. All right. I mean, like, should I count the introduction as the first chapter like I did with the prologue for Rouge? Or should I... The first chapter itself is not actually that long, so I might read both the introduction and the first chapter. But yeah, this one, it's like kind of a modern horror classic, but I also know it's one that people kind of either love or hate. So I'm interested to see which side I'm on, but if I read the first chapter and I'm like, wow, no, I don't want to keep it, you know? What's the point? Then we have another one that is on my list of 50 books for the year, and this is The Guineveres by Sarah Dommett, which I bought a few years ago, just kind of on a whim because it sounded like something I would like, about 4 girls and their friendship. They're all named Guinevere. And they are at a convent. So, I don't know, we'll see. And then one that I got for free pretty recently is Someday, Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham, who played Lorelai in Gilmore Girls. Pippin, stop biting me. So my in-laws found this at their house and they had no idea who it belongs to. They were like, nope, none of us, this is not any of us. So I was like, well, I'll take it. But I have no idea if it's something I'm even remotely interested in. 90s in New York with a girl dreaming of being on Broadway and not having much luck with it. I don't know. I am hoping to look at those today and then get back to you, because I'm like, I want to get going. I know I said this was going to be vlog style, and I meant to be doing like, you know, the B footage of me reading the books, but then I realized with 17 books, that's going to get really long. So I'm just going to jump in and out as I finish them, and there's going to be no B footage, because also that sounded like a lot of work. I'm lazy. So sorry. So I will check in with you when I have read the first chapters of these next 3 books. It is now later on Tuesday, and we have 3 more that I have just read the first chapters of, or in the case of one, the introduction and the first chapter. And we've got some of our first unhauls. So after last time I was like, I'm keeping all 3 of them. I hope that it's not all like that, but no, I am unhauling some. So the first one was House of Leaves, and I will be unhauling this. So I don't know. I was intrigued, but not like engaged enough to really want to keep it around. And if I do decide that I want to read it, I can easily get this from the library. I know that it's readily available. So might still read it someday, but not anytime soon, and I don't feel the need to have it on my shelf. Then there was The Guinevere's by Sarah Dommett, and this one I am going to keep. This was a really great first chapter. It starts off with these 4 girls, all named Guinevere, trying to escape the convent they live in a parade float. So it was very good, very well written, and I want to know more. So I'll definitely be keeping it around and reading it soon, since it's on my list of 50 books to read for the year. And then for another unhaul is Someday, Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham. I didn't find the writing in this very good, to be honest. And like the first chapter was the main character waking up from a dream and then like getting ready for the day. And I hate that. I hate that as an opening. So yeah, I'm not keeping this, not interested. No. So the next 3 that we've got, we have Less by Andrew Sean Greer, which won the Pulitzer Prize. This is another one on my 25 books list. What are we about? A failed novelist about to turn 50. Boyfriend of the past 9 years is engaged to somebody else. Oh. Should you go to the wedding or no? Yikes. Okay. Not a situation I would want to be in, personally. How long's the first chapter? Oh, there's a cute little clock on the first page. Okay, this is becoming a very long first chapter. That is a 42-page first chapter. Well, by then I guess I really should know if I want to read it or not. Okay. Next up is American Philosophy, a love story by John Cagg, with this horrible staff pick sticker right in the middle. I actually got Less and American Philosophy from the same friend. So we've got a dispirited young philosopher having issues with his marriage and career, stumbles upon an abandoned library of one of the giants of American philosophy. And it's got handwritten, ooh, this sounds fun. This sounds like I should really like it. Do you have a 42-page first chapter? Oh, we have a table of contents. That's lovely. Love me a table of contents. So we do have a prologue. So, I might read both the prologue and the first chapter, which would bring me to page 20. We'll see what happens and how I'm feeling. And then we have Human Acts by Han Kang, whose name I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. This is about a student uprising in South Korea, and a boy is killed. I've heard really good things about this. I forget from who. The one that you hear more about is Kang's Vegetarian, but I have heard people talking about this one recently. I got this for free, so. Oh, there's an introduction by the translator. I don't think I'm gonna read, well, maybe I'll read that, I don't know. How long is your first chapter? Hopefully not 42 pages. Oh dear. It's not 42 pages, it's longer than 42 pages. It's 47 pages. Alrighty then. I guess, again, I'll really know if I want to keep it. So, I will check back in with you once I have read those, which will probably be tomorrow. I feel like it's already 2:30 and I have stuff I want to do. So I might read them tonight, but I probably will not update you tonight. Hello again. It is now Thursday morning and I have read those next three. So we've got 2 keeps and 1 unhaul. So first up, Less by Andrew Sean Greer. This I was really intrigued by. I actually didn't read the whole first chapter because it was long. It was like 42 pages. So, but I read until like there was a pretty decent break in the, you know, in the like a section break. Yeah, this is really interesting. So we're following Arthur Less, who's an author, and the guy he had been seeing is getting married and sent him an invitation to the wedding. He responds no, but he decides he's going to accept all these other offers all around the world that he's been made, like to teach a class in Germany and to go on a trip to India or whatever. So he's decided he's going to say yes to all of those and spend basically a year traveling. So it seemed really interesting. I really liked the narrative voice. It felt almost Victorian because like the narrator is using first person sometimes, but it's not a person actually in the story. So it's really interesting. Like you see, at least not as of right now, but you see authors like Anthony Trollope and Elizabeth Gaskell do this sometimes, and actually Victor Hugo too. So that's really interesting, and I want to read this, and I'm excited to read more of it. We then have the Unhaul, which is American Philosophy by John Cagg. I read the prologue of this and I just could not get into it, so I'm not going to keep it around. I should probably get this stupid sticker off of it though before I bring it to the used bookstore. And then I am keeping Human Acts by Han Kang. Another really interesting one narratively. So the and also another one that I did not read the whole first chapter. I read up until there was a break. But it's at least this chapter is told in the second person. So you are the character. And I don't know if that's going to continue through the whole book. I'm pretty sure that each chapter like focuses on a different person. Yeah, okay, so it's not the same through the whole book. That's interesting. That's going to be really, really interesting. There has been a massacre and there's all these people dead, and it's going to be a lot, I can already tell, but it's going to be very well done. So, next 3 books. we've got another one on my, actually we've got 2 more on my 50 books list. We've got The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, which is like a kind of dark academia, Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University, group of female students called the Maidens. Murder. What do we got for a first chapter here? I've heard very mixed things about this. Like, it sounds like something I would really like, but then a lot of people I know read it and hated it. So, and we've got another prologue. The prologue's only 1 page. Okay. The first chapter's only like 3 pages. Okay, I might read like the first 2 chapters, plus the prologue, obviously, just to get a feel for this, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to otherwise. So I don't know. If it catches my interest, I'll keep it around and read it this year. If it doesn't, it will be unhauled. Ow, I just hit my hand on the table. The other book that's on my 50 books list is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a Gothic historical novel in Mexico. Girl goes to her cousin's, like the house that her cousin now lives in after being newly married, and things are sketchy. So what do we got for first chapter here? I feel like I actually read the first chapter of this, but it would have been years ago when I bought it. Okay, 14 pages for the first chapter. That's decent. Okay. I'm expecting to really like this and to want to keep this. And then we have Wintering, a novel of Sylvia Plath by Kate Moses. I bought this last year at the used book superstore. It got shelved with the classics accidentally. It's a novel like about Sylvia Plath. Novelization of her life. I think, yeah, covering right before her suicide. So, I don't know. I'm expecting to want to keep this. Oh, that's cool. Each chapter is one of her poems. Wait, I love that. I love that. All right. How long is this first chapter? Okay. This is only 16 pages. I mean, I know nothing about Moses as a writer, so I don't know. I am obviously very interested in the subject matter. Of course, it is a fictionalized version of her life. We do not have her journals from that time period because Ted Hughes burned them. That man has a lot to answer for. Great poet, but he has a lot to answer for. Anyway, so I'm interested to see if I'll like this. All right, so I will be back once I have read the first chapter of those, and we will see what I think of them. And I am back. It is now Thursday evening, and I've got 2 more keeps and 1 more unhaul. So we're like kind of getting rid of some stuff. So first up, The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This is an unhaul. I ended up reading the prologue and then the first 2 chapters because they were so short. And my God, the writing was just not good. It was just bad. Like, so bland and just like, she did this, she did that. I was like, no, I can't do this. So this is going to the used bookstore to get sold, to get me some good money, because it's a relatively new book. I think 2021. Yeah, I was right, 2021, and it's in hardcover. So you're gonna get me some great store credit. We then have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I am keeping this one. As I was reading this first chapter, hi Pippin, I'm coming over to be on the couch in a minute, okay? Okay. Do you wanna sit? You can sit. Anyway, I had read the first chapter of this before. Actually, I think more than the first chapter, but I remembered the chapter as I was reading it, and I really, really liked it. So this is staying and will be getting read this year, hopefully. We then have Wintering by Kate Moses, and this one is also staying. I wasn't like, I liked the first chapter. It was interesting. I want to see how she like kind of envisions Plath and the last days of her life. And the writing was quite nice, so. Like, I am a little hesitant because I'm like, it's always kind of weird reading a fictionalized version of a real person, but I am interested. So, this is a keep. So, the next 3 books. We have Boy, Snow, Bird by Helen Oyeyemi. This was on my TBR for 2025, and I just never got to it. I have read how many Oyeyemi books now? Let's see, White is for Witching, Gingerbread, Mr. Fox, and that might be it. And I've generally liked them. They're very strange books. And I'm expecting this to be very strange too. I am expecting it to be a keep though, because I have really liked Oyeyemi in the past. We then have The Dutch House by Anne Patchett, another Pulitzer Prize, finalist, not a winner, finalist, excuse me. This one I just picked up for free and don't really know what it's about. It's a family story starting at the end of the Second World War. They build a house. Course of 5 decades. It's a dark fairy tale about 2 smart people who cannot overcome their past. Sounds like a lot of people I know. Anyway, so I don't know. I've never read anything by Patchett before, so we'll see what happens with this. And then we have The Dante Club by Matthew Pearl. And I picked this up at a used bookstore years ago. Actually, the same time that I bought Mexican Gothic. That was the same bookstore trip. And I just thought it sounded interesting. So we're in Boston in 1865. There's a series of murders inspired by Dante's Inferno. Elite group of America's first Dante scholars can solve the mystery. The police are baffled. So it sounds like it'll be a fun mystery with, like, you know, set in the 19th century, given in America. But in Boston, my hometown. Kind of. And Dante's Inferno, that sounds like it'll be interesting and hopefully kind of gruesome, because that's kind of what I go to this type of book for. So hopefully the first chapter will be good. Although the quote on the cover is from Dan Brown, with him saying that Pearl is the new shining star of literary fiction. I don't really know what Dan Brown thinks he knows about literary fiction, because I would not call the Da Vinci Code literary fiction, but okay. I will check in with you when I have looked at these. I am now back on Friday morning, and I have decided to keep all 3 of these. Not doing a very good job with this whole unhauling thing. So we had Boy, Snow, Bird by Helen Oyeyemi. The first chapter of this is such a great opening scene with the main character running away from home and from an abusive father, and it was really great. So I'm excited to keep reading this. The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. It's a lot slower of a book, like not nearly as exciting as the opening chapter of Boy, Snow, Bird, but I was really intrigued and the writing is really lovely. So I am gonna keep it around and read it. And then The Dante Club. This is an odd one. So it opens up with this preface that's like caution to the reader, and it's really weird. And it's like framed as being by a professor from Cambridge. And then we move into the 19th century with this really graphic scene of a body being found, and like really gross, but really good. So also looking forward to continuing with this. So now I'm down to the last 2 books of the 17, and I'm predicting that both of these will be ones to keep, and they are both by the same author. So we've got Surrender Dorothy by Meg Wolitzer. I actually have no idea what this is about. I bought it just because it was Meg Wolitzer, and I had really liked everything I'd read by her. Young woman's shocking early death and its effect on her mother and circle of longtime friends. Okay. Right, interesting. Let's see how long the first chapter is. Oh, we've got another prologue. A lot of prologues, God, everyone's writing a prologue. Okay, it's short, 1 page and like a little bit of a sentence on the next page. And then how about you, chapter 1? How long are you? You are long. All right, chapter 1 is 38. It goes to page 38. So I might not read the whole chapter. I actually didn't read the whole chapter for the Dante Club. I got about 10, 15 pages in and was like, yeah, no, I want to read this, and decided to keep it. So we'll see how this one is. Then we have The 10-Year Nap, also by Meg Wolitzer. And this one I know is about women who have like spent the last decade raising their children, and now they're kind of like, what, now what? No prologue here. Let's see, how long is the first chapter? Yeah, quite long. Okay, 30, oh, more than 30. 40 pages for the first chapter. So again, might not read that whole thing, but we'll see. So I will check back in for the final update of everything. Hello again, and I am back with the final update for this video. It is now Tuesday. It's been several days. My husband's birthday was this weekend, and it was crazy. We had people over, so I did read these the same day of whenever I made that last update, or maybe it was the day after. I don't even remember anymore. But yeah, I just haven't had a chance to update, what with people being here and cleaning and blah. So we looked at Surrender Dorothy by Meg Wolitzer, and this is going to be a keep. I did not read this entire first chapter because it was pretty long, but I read about half of it and am pretty intrigued by the characters. Also found this, which I did not know was there. I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this an actual signature, like done in pen, or was it like printed on? I can't really tell. My husband thinks it's actually written in pen, so actually signed in person by Meg Wolitzer, which is pretty cool. But yeah, didn't know that was there, huh? But yeah, this is a keep. And then we also had The 10-Year Nap by Meg Wolitzer, which I also am keeping. I also did not read the full first chapter of this. Again, her first chapters are just kind of long, so. And I didn't want to get too far in because then I was gonna wanna just keep reading it and already had enough books to be reading and all that. But yeah, this is also a keep. So that brings us to the end of reading these first chapters. So how many am I unhauling? 4 out of 17. I'd been hoping for a few more, but you know, it's okay. At least it means that I want to read the books I own, I guess. And then here is the whole stack of 13 that I am keeping. Yeah, 13. So clearing shelf space didn't really happen, but that's okay. And actually, this project has made me really excited to read some of these that I like didn't really have in my mind anymore because I've been on my shelf for so long. So that's a good thing. So there's some of them that I'm like, yeah, I want to read that right now. So that's good. Even though I only unhauled 4, it's still pretty good. So let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? Are there any in my keep stack that you're like, read that one first? Or that you're like, no, Elizabeth, get rid of that one? Or are there ones in my very, very small unhaul pile that you suggest I do hang on to? Which would be bad for the shelf space, but I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.